you got to realize that whatever you're doing, you're competing with somebody. What is it that gives you an advantage over your competition? Whatever you're good at, try to be great at it. And if you're great at it, good things will happen.
Maverick Podcast.
I'm far from average. That's why I had to come sit down and chop it up with DJ Maverick. They know my name from coast to coast and even in Dallas. I use my talent when I'm faced with a challenge. Gratitude strength is my magnet. Close your eyes and imagine. If you can see it in your mind, then you can have it.
Maverick Podcast.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. This is the Maverick Podcast. I'm your host, DJ Maverick. Today we have another rock star in the building, the one and only Pilar Esparza. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thank you for having me tonight.
Before we get started, for the 1% of the people out there that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Pilar Esparza, and I'm the co-founder of Taco Empire. We're a family-owned restaurant that was born out of a food truck. We started on June 2022, and by November 2023, we had opened our first brick and mortar. We specialize in serving true Mexican flavors. Our tacos are served in blue corn tortillas, and we love to offer quality and a taco that you will eat at home.
Tell me a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up?
Well, I was born and raised in Mexico. I moved to Oklahoma when I was 18, almost 19 in 2011. And my parents are restaurant owners of a very famous restaurant in my hometown. It's called Mariscos La Fragua in Calvillo. My grandparents were the founders, and then my parents decided to open their own one. And so that makes me the third generation of a restaurant business owner.
That's amazing. I always hear that the worst business to go into is the restaurant business. Is that true, or are people just saying that to scare you?
No, it's a lot of work everywhere.
Yeah.
Earlier I was talking to my husband and I was like, I don't know. I went to get a coffee with my neighbors and I was like, I don't know why I didn't like this business. It's so easy, so easy to replicate, so easy to dominate. I mean, maybe that's what I say because I really don't know, but compared to what we do, it is a lot of work. And I always say I don't recommend it, not because I don't want any more competition. It's just because it's very, very hard and not everybody has the bones for it.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know if you've seen the story behind Starbucks, but he was denied multiple times from the banks. And they were like, you're crazy. You're going to sell this $5 coffee. Nobody's going to buy it. So he had to go to several banks before he was finally approved.
I didn't know. I didn't know that part of the story. I knew there was a time when they had like CDs and other stuff combined. But after all, they say that, it wasn't a good job for them. So they decided to rebrand and start all over. But I believe that they were denied because it's not something that everybody trusts.
Yeah, definitely. So tell me a little bit about the love of cooking. Has that always been there? You said you're third generation. Is that by sort of the pressure, or did you enjoy being around food and cooking and everything else?
I love being around food when it's about eating.
Okay, me too. Yeah.
My husband is the one who shares more the passion about cooking. I feel that I got the good taste from my family, but I love to cook whenever I don't have to. If I have to, it kind of loses the magic. Yeah. It is a love-hate relationship, I feel. But on my side, I feel I'm more into the taking care of the people, booking, sales, social media, and all the other stuff around the business. Cooking is not my favorite thing to do, if I'm honest, but I'm very good at it if I have to do it. Like some of the pretty much half of the menu was my idea.
Okay, so very cool. So what came first? Did the insurance part come first, or the Balandra events? What was the first sort of thing that you got into?
Well, first of all, I work in the restaurant service business for probably 9 years. Before I decided to try the insurance, and that was my way out. I was very insecure about starting a business or doing something because I didn't have a background here. I didn't go to school here, and I know that for a lot of things, you have to know somebody, and I didn't know anybody.
And it's scary. I mean, you're making that jump, and you're an entrepreneur. There's not that guaranteed paycheck, right? It's scary to make that jump.
Right. And you don't even know if you're going to make it or not, because on my case, I was like, I don't know if I'm good enough to do something that is going to feed me and my family, right? Yeah. And so I got the opportunity to work as an insurance agent. And there was a funny story that happened that made me decide, like, well, maybe this is a sign and I'm going to go and try it. Okay. So that was my way out of the restaurant. And while I was there, I knew it wasn't going to be something for me, because I have never worked in offices or like a 9-to-5 job, and I wasn't used to it. And I didn't want it to just leave it there. I was like, well, let me give it a try. Maybe I do like it. Yeah. But I was right, and I didn't like it.
You weren't happy? No.
No, it's I like to talk to people. And at that time was like post-COVID. So it was just in an office. You needed to call people. And
it's probably very structured. You're probably sitting at a desk or something. Right?
And then they sold me a different story. Like they were like, you are very good at sales. You're going to come here when we're going to help you and we're going to train you. And as soon as I got my license, they were like, okay, this is your office. This is what you have to do.
Good luck.
Good luck, right. Wow. And I was like, I don't know how to do it. Like a lot of things that I didn't know, and I felt always insecure. And then I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm doing it right, and I don't want to jeopardize anything. Yeah. So I didn't feel supported, and eventually I was like, I need to try something else. So at the same time, I was like looking at other friends who had opened their businesses, and then I found that it was like a luxury pop-up picnics. Okay. That was very popular in Mexico. So I was like, I can do that. I mean, I feel that it's very easy to do. I have the abilities to do it. I'm just going to go ahead and try it. So I went to get a table, a couple of pillows, and that's how I started my other business, Balandra Events. Okay. And so that's how everything began.
There's definitely a market, because I don't want to throw all the guys under the bus, but we're bad planners, right? So if we had like an event like that to like plan this luxury picnic, how cool was that? You were showing me a picture. They had a movie screen. They had a full layout and everything. That's really cool. It's a cool idea.
Thank you. Yeah, it was, to me, it was kind of new, but whenever I first started doing it, there was 2 other girls who started doing it at the same time. Okay. So they were kind of like my competition, but I think I did pretty good. I only did it for like a little bit over a year, and I gained popularity. And then after that, people were like, hey, do you also decorate parties? And I was like, yeah. And do you also do this? Yes. Sure. Yeah. Anything. You will ask me anything. Yeah, I can do it. Yeah. And so it kind of evolved a little bit from doing luxury picnics to party styling. And I also did some grazing tables and charcuterie boards. And after that, I had to leave everything behind, because we started Taco Empire. Okay. And it was very hard to manage everything. And so I had to quit one or the other, and I had to quit Balandra.
Yeah. Do you think that that's part of being an entrepreneur, when you're saying, can you do this? Sure. Can you do that? Sure. You think that's part of being an entrepreneur, is just figuring it out? I always like to say you're building the airplane as you're flying it. Yeah. You think that's part of it?
I feel so. Yeah. Especially if you don't have clear what you want to do. And also, like, you don't want to close, on my side, I didn't want it to close any doors. Yeah. Because sometimes I didn't have a lot of work on the picnics. But I was like, well, if I can make some extra money decorating a party, I'm going to do it. Or if I'm going to make some extra, as long as anything was paying me and paying my bills, I will do anything. Let's do it, right? Yes, let's do it. So, yeah, I feel that is kind of part of being an entrepreneur. Yeah.
And you started Taco Empire with the food truck at first, right? So tell me about that. So tell me about the struggles. How did you get that going?
Well, so my husband was one of those who will complain about not being happy at his job. He could do it better than his boss and all of that stuff. Okay. And at that time, I had already quit insurance to do Balandra full time. And I was being busy, and, that kept me busy paying the bills and everything. Probably it wasn't like as good, but I feel that it was just a starting point. So I was like, if you can do it better, why don't you do it yourself? Like, if you're so good at this, go ahead and try it, right? And so I was like trying to help him find what he wanted to do. But he will sell cars and do other things, but he wasn't like, I don't know about this.
Okay.
So we always thought about a food truck or a restaurant, but at the same time, I was like, I don't want to do that because I know what it is.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have the history.
No.
You're like, no, I don't want to do this.
Yeah,
Right?
and in my hometown in Mexico, we're from Calvillo, Aguascalientes, and there's a lot of people here in Oklahoma from that part of Mexico. And my parents' restaurant is very famous.
Okay.
And so everybody was expecting us to open a restaurant. They were like, hey, when I first moved in, they were like, when are you open a restaurant?
Yeah.
When are you going to do it? And I was like, first of all, I don't have the money. Second, I don't know how everything is here. I don't have any support. I don't know like the rules or anything. I was very insecure. And then another thing, it was like, I don't want to do it because I have done it my entire life and I have seen my parents do it. And it's a lot of work. We have no holidays. We have no breaks or whatsoever. And I was like, I don't want to go into that life. But I mean, here I am.
It kind of reminds me of the Selena Quintanilla sort of story, right? Her dad was like, you're going to be in a band, you're playing drums, you're playing bass. Like, this is a family business.
Right.
And they had no choice. They had to do it, right? But it sounds like maybe there was maybe a deep down in love for the restaurant and cooking. What do you think?
Well, the thing with this is like, I kept telling my husband, like, what do you want to do, right? And so at the end, like the easiest thing was to open a restaurant, but we didn't have the money to open a restaurant with the standards that we wanted to have.
Yeah.
And then we weren't sure if we were going to do it right or we were going to make it. So we were like, okay, let's start with a food truck. The plan was always to get a brick and mortar, but we were like, let's start like with little.
Yeah, that's a great entry.
And then we'll see how it goes. That way, if we invest like all of our savings, we are not going to lose everything.
Yeah.
But we have been very, very blessed and everything has been going great ever since day one. And it just keeps going better and better.
I've got a very important question. So between my brothers and I, we always gauge a restaurant based on two things, the beans and the rice. And I don't know why, but I feel like restaurants always cut corners there. I don't know how you feel, but to me, that's like a staple. It's a basic. But if you go try beans and rice at a restaurant, they don't taste like my mom's beans and rice, right? What do you think? What causes that?
Well, I don't know. I feel, first of all, most of Mexican restaurants in Oklahoma aren't truly Mexican restaurants.
True.
And then, I mean, I don't know what to say about it, but what I can say about our restaurant is that, because I get asked this question a lot.
Yeah.
Like, is this what you serve in Aguascalientes? Is this your like typical food? And I was like, not really. But we serve the food the way we will cook it at home. That's the way we eat it.
Okay.
So even the rice is my mom's recipe.
Okay.
From
That's amazing.
the restaurant in Mexico.
Okay.
And then the charro beans are my mother-in-law's recipe, and that's the way we eat them at home.
Okay.
Same as the tacos, like the shrimp tacos, or we have added a few things that are in like Mexican, like the bowls or the nachos.
Sure.
But that was because people will ask for them, and you need to.
You need to adapt, and the clients have a certain taste or something. You want to adapt, but I always wonder, like, you would think that rice and beans are pretty easy to nail down, but I don't know. It feels like they cut corners. I don't know if it's like they just open a can or it's like pre-cooked, or I don't know, but they never taste like, and I can always tell if the beans and rice aren't good, the rest of the food isn't going to be
right.
either.
and I really don't know why, because they're so easy to make. Like, it's not the hardest thing to do, and I don't know.
You're like, I don't know.
But I know that ours are very good, and that's the only thing I care about.
Yeah, definitely. So why Taco Empire? What's the meaning behind Taco Empire?
Well, first of all, the first name, the original name, was Taco Republic.
Okay.
We hired a brand designer in Mexico, and she's supposed to make a research about everything and all the names that were available. And so we trust her with the options she gave us. I never thought about making like doing research and be like, oh, let me type to see if I find any of it. So we were like, oh, Taco Republic, yes, we love it. And then we did everything. We opened the business. We put the sign and everything. And there's a restaurant I think in Arkansas, that is also called Taco Republic.
No.
And so after we had opened our food truck, and after we been open for like 2 months, it occurred to me to type in Taco Republic.
Like see what's out there?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I found them.
Oh, no.
And they call us and they say they were getting a lot of inquiries, wanting our food.
Yeah. They're like, hey, I heard you guys have great quesadillas.
Right. But they were calling them. So I guess that's a growing company as well. And they made us change our name because they had a trademark registered already. So we had to change the name. And now we are Taco Empire. And, you know, like if you are a Star Wars fan, you know that the Republic becomes the Empire.
Oh,
so
is that why? Are you a Star Wars fan or what?
I'm not such a huge fan as my husband, but people came to me like, oh, yeah, that's a great slogan.
Yeah.
The Republic becomes the Empire. And I was like, oh,
nice.
that works.
It works
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
I think whenever I'm thinking about a business or doing something, the first thing I do is check social media. Can I get the username? Check the website. Can I get the website? Like I always start with that.
I never thought about it. And with my previous business, because the name was Balandra and it wasn't a common word, that was available everywhere.
Yeah.
But I never thought about like searching for Taco Republic until everything was done already. Yes.
Wow. How difficult was that to go rebrand? And everybody probably knew you at that point with that name. How did you go about rebranding and everything?
It wasn't that difficult. It was just more on all the expenses that we had to make.
Okay.
But I was like, this is never happening again. And I went to do the trademark and register. It's on the process, but I mean, I feel it should be ready already. But we're working on have the trademark so it doesn't. Nobody else comes to us and say, hey, you need to change your name again.
Like nope,
not
again.
No, this is ours, and this it is.
That's cool. So tell me about developing the menu for Taco Empire. How did that go about? You mentioned you had some recipes from your family, but then did you also have some favorite dishes, or how did you go about that?
Well, I love shrimp tacos.
Okay.
And our original shrimp tacos are fried, the ones that we sell at the food truck. Mm-hmm. And so in Mexico, in our hometown, when you have pizza, and I feel this is only in our hometown because I every time I talk about it, people is like, what is that? So they sell they call it chimichurri, but it's not the Argentinian chimichurri, the green one.
Okay.
This is a mayonnaise base with chipotle and other spices that you will add to the pizza, and it's so good.
Really?
And I used to make that for anything at home. Mm-hmm. So if I wanted to have French fries or pizza or whatever, I will just make that dressing. And then I was like, ooh, I feel that this with the shrimp tacos. And I'm very visual. Not only that it tastes good, but also it looks good.
Yeah.
And so we use blue corn tortillas for our tacos, and then the red cabbage, and then the fried shrimp. The chipotle chimichurri is like kind of orange, and then the green avocado slices and cilantro. And then if you like put it all together, it looks pretty and it's really good.
Yeah.
And so we were thinking about adding things to our menu that were different from all of the other food trucks. We do have the same stuff that some others do, like the quesadillas, tacos, quesadillas, and tortas. But we wanted to add and incorporate different things. We also added the papas adobadas, which are the little potatoes with garlic and red crushed pepper.
Okay.
And I feel that we were the first ones to sell those. And after we started selling them, I seen
everybody.
Like I seen other places where they have it, and I'm like, And that's my mother-in-law's recipe.
Oh, okay.
And they're just really, really good. We usually add a little potato, I think. Have you tried them?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
they come with the quesadillas, right?
They come with almost any dish that we
really?
sell.
Okay.
Mm-hmm, because we want people to try them, so they ask for them.
Yeah.
And so the corn is also one that I added. I wanted to do something different with the corn, the elote, because everybody will do the corn in a cup with mayonnaise and cotija cheese, and that's not my thing at all. And I wanted to do it in a way that I felt proud. And I don't sell anything that me personally don't eat. If that's something that you like, and everybody's is free to do whatever they want. But if I don't eat it, I don't sell it.
Okay.
Like our burritos are very simple. We just keep it simple. It's just a large flour tortilla with a crust of cheese, the meat of your choice, the beans, the rice, and that's it. And if you want to add like guacamole, sour cream, and all of that, it's up to you. But in my menu is like this. And so the elote, that's one of the things that I wanted to do, something that I like, and that's how I like it. I make this salsa macha. The salsa macha is made with dried chilies and garlic and oil. Those are the only three ingredients, and salt. And so if you do it right, it's just so good. And then we deep fry the corn, and then we saute it with the salsa macha. And if you you have the contrast of the sweetness of the corn with the salsa macha, which is kind of smoky, and then with some cilantro and lime, and it's so good. That I just wanted to do things different, and then we added a few things that are a little bit different from others.
When you're describing to keep things simple, I don't know if you saw the Michelin star restaurant in Mexico, the tacos that won.
Yeah.
They look super simple. Did you see it? It's just a basic tortilla, basic meat.
Right.
But they say that the quality of the meat is really good. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I feel that that's everything.
Yeah.
We often get compared to other taquerias that have like $1 tacos, and our tacos are not $1.
Right.
Because we also use a larger tortilla compared to the little ones.
Yeah.
But our prices come from the quality and the products that we use. Because like I said, we don't sell anything that we will not eat.
Yeah.
Even with the chicken, we don't use the cheapest chicken either. Nuggets, we use like these organic chicken nuggets because it's what I feed my kids with.
Yeah.
And we don't put any of that on the menu, but we know because it's what we will eat. So
Maybe you should, because that brings awareness. Hey, we care about quality ingredients, because Chick-fil-A is kind of doing the opposite. They're like, hey, we're having to cut costs. We're going to go away from that type of chicken. We're going to find somebody that can do it a little bit cheaper, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, probably that's one of the things that I need to add so
selling
people
point.
know. Because I don't put it on the menu or anything, but whenever I talk to people, that's what I say. Because then you'll get people like, oh, you're on social media, you'll get all kinds of comments and, oh, but those tacos are so expensive. And I'm like, no, they're not, because we know what we're selling.
Right.
And if you want to go and eat something that you don't even know how much they pay for that food, that's up to you. But this is what we sell, and it may not be for everybody, but we really care about on quality and other things. But that's one of the most important.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I know you said that you have a love-hate relationship with social media, right? But I think presentation is super big too. The other thing that I see when I go to a taqueria and stuff like that, they'll give me like a paper plate. They'll just put it. I mean, it's basic, right? Like, I don't know what it is, but sometimes in our culture, sometimes they don't worry too much about the presentation.
That's one of the things that we wanted to do different. Like, we were born and raised in Aguascalientes. We came here when we were older. And then we came here, and we will go to restaurants, and we were like, this is a Mexican restaurant? Yeah. And then if you go to the taquerias, which are the most authentic, you'll see all those things that you're like, oh, I don't know. Or it doesn't look as pretty, but it's really good. I can tell it's really good. But we wanted to be different about that. We wanted to presentate not food that tastes delicious, but also looks good. And the same with the ambience and everything.
Yeah.
In Mexico, there's a lot of places that are very Americanized, and I don't know if people will understand this whenever I say it, but you'll go to a salad place, a taco place, and everything is so pretty, and they think about the branding and all of those details. But here, I feel that not everybody has that mentality, and they're just like, oh, I'm very good at cooking. There you go. I opened my business. But I always say that having a business, I mean, it depends what kind of business you want to offer.
Yeah.
But on our side, we care about all of those details. So we wanted to make sure that everything was like on the same boat, right? Like branding, quality in the food, how we serve it. This is also another thing that we don't talk a lot, but I feel that I also would like to. We try to use the less plastic as possible.
Okay.
Because in Mexico, I was very ecological. That
okay.
kind of changed a little bit here.
Yeah.
But we try to use the less plastic as possible. Of course, there's like no bamboo. Well, yeah, maybe they are, but I haven't spent that much on that, on forks or stuff that are more eco-friendly.
Yeah.
But I try to keep what I can, so everything, like the cost of everything stays the same. Because also, if you start like adding all of those things, eventually you have to increase the price, and then not everybody sees the value of it.
Right.
So we try to like keep it fair for everybody.
Yeah, my friends and family always give me a hard time because I'm a big believer of vibes, right? So if I go to a place, I pay attention to what music, I pay attention to the decor, I pay attention to the presentation. To me, that's almost just as important as the food I'm going to eat.
Everything was founded by ourselves. We didn't get any loan or anything when we opened. We limit ourselves in a lot of things. We always reinvest in the money, and so one of the things that we really didn't care about was adding a sound system or anything.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, this is something I'm not gonna spend money on it right now.
Yeah.
And so we have a TV that has Wi-Fi, and then we'll play YouTube and everything. And whenever I'm there, I'm like, okay, keep this kind of music. But then I'm gone, and then I come back, and I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
Please change the music. So in order for me to control all of those things, because to me it matters too.
Yeah, me
like
too.
It really does. I feel that my employees, they don't care about it because they don't see the value of it. But I'm like, no, because I don't want to be eating and then listen to these. And some of the songs are in Spanish and they're very explicit, and I know what they're saying. Maybe my customers don't, but I know. And I'm like, I don't want to listen to that.
Yeah, one of my favorite places, I don't know if you've ever been to Yellow Rosa in Dallas.
No.
So they do a brunch and they have a mariachi. And they're like playing, and it's like super traditional inside. You feel like you're in Mexico or something, like the walls and everything. So the vibes are crazy. I'm like super like fan of that kind of stuff because you want to go there and you want it to feel special. And it almost feels like you enjoy your meal more because it's presented, and then you're happy, you're surrounded with the music and everything, and it makes me miss Mexico. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I never been there, but definitely adding to.
Yeah, you should check it out.
Yes.
They even do a loteria day, so they'll play loteria and everything. So
that's so cool.
It's a really cool environment.
With our business, we try to keep it simple because at the end, we want to create something we can also replicate.
Yeah.
So the more you add to it, the harder it is to do. And our thing is like what is fast food casual? Okay. And so we want to keep it simple. Yeah. But before, I never told you this, but before even Balandra, I wanted to open a brunch restaurant.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
And that was my whole thing.
Tell me about that. Paint the picture for me. Tell me, what was the dream?
So I wanted to open a brunch Mexican restaurant. I even opened social media and everything. And then I will cook I will show you once we're done. I will show you the page
it's a
and
secret,
everything.
Might happen, maybe.
Yeah. Yes, that's definitely in my plans. Okay. And I'm a firmly believer that, God's timing is perfect. For and probably if it didn't happen at that time, it's because I wasn't ready for it. And now I can see I was not ready for it. But so even before insurance, even before anything, I was like, I want to open a restaurant, and it's going to be a brunch restaurant, and it's going to be a Mexican restaurant. And then I created a menu, and I did the social media, like I said, and then all of the other things. And I still have that. I even have the menu in a folder in my house, and I'm so excited because whenever that comes to life, it's going to be beautiful. Yeah. Everybody's going to love it. That's cool. But then I started with this in 2019, and I even participated in a few events that, like Hangover Brunch. I don't know if you ever heard about it, but it was like a thing where a lot of restaurants will bring their menu, so people will try it, and then that was like a marketing for the restaurants.
Is it like a festival, like a food truck
It
festival?
only happens twice, and then I think it only happens twice, and then it happened before COVID. So after COVID, it never happened again.
Got it.
But I even presented my food there, and people was like, "Oh, I love it," and I was like, "Yes, I'm gonna have a lot of customers."
Yeah, that's cool.
And so I was looking for a spot, but I never found anything that was on my budget or like on my vision of the things that I wanted to do, because to me, the ambience and the place and everything, the location is very important. It's not like I'm just going to open it where I can afford it. No, I was like, no, it needs to be in a specific area. And so it was, I worked hard on finding things, and it didn't work. And then on December, I went to Mexico. This was 2019. On December, I went to Mexico. I was like, I'm going to relax, and whenever I come back, I'm just going to start like all over again, and until I find the right place. And then COVID happened. And I was like, probably that's what it didn't work right.
Yeah, it's
so,
probably a good thing, yeah.
So once we settled with Taco Empire, which I don't know when this is going to be, but it's still in my plans and opening that place.
That's amazing. I think the approach that I would take if I was going to open a restaurant would be to cater to the ladies. That's the same thing I do when I DJ, is cater to the ladies, right? Like if the ladies are there, the guys are going to follow, right?
Yeah.
So if you create a space that's fun, that's inviting, and especially that they can IG, right? Then they can Instagram the plates and the place. I think that's super important, especially, I know you said love and hate, right? Maybe we should talk about the love and hate about social media. You said that sometimes you're like, you don't enjoy it, right?
Right. So when my first business, Balandra, I kind of figured out the way everything worked to stay relevant and to gain followers and everything.
Yeah.
And it's just very demanding. You have to be posting, you have to be making rules, you have to have a good caption and then the hashtags and everything.
It's a full-time job.
It's a full-time job, and they want to keep you there.
Yeah.
And if you don't post in like this many days, then the next time you post, oh no, like
The
5 views.
The algorithm forgets you. Yeah.
And I hate it because I don't know if that's on my personality, but I'm like, no, you're not going to obligate me to do something that I don't want.
Right.
But I kind of had to do it because it is important for the business. So with Taco Empire, it's been hard because it's demanding, and I seen a lot of business that because I don't know. It just has a lot of things that are important, but some people doesn't really think about social media being so important. So they will just throw pictures of everything, but it is also important that your feed looks pretty and that there's like an aesthetic. This is the aesthetic way that everything looks like. Coordinate,
because everything speaks to your brand, right?
Exactly.
If you put a picture, you wanted to know this is Taco Empire, this is their brand, right?
And so to me, with all of the things that I do, staying relevant and making sure everything looks the same and it's just very demanding.
Sure.
And then there will be times whenever I don't post anything at all.
Yeah.
And then I'll make a reel and only like 2,000 views, and I'm like, oh. But then if I start like working again and posting over and over and adding the one of the things that I know that work, it kind of like start making more, showing more on the algorithm, and so that's that love-hate relationship that I have. That I have to do it because I have to do it, not because I want to do it.
Yeah, I think it's just unfortunately the world that we live in, right? Like you can have the most amazing food, but if people don't know about it, then it's, nobody's going to go visit you, right?
Yeah, it is important because before we didn't invest on any marketing because we were, our food is very good. We felt confident about it. And yes, we were right, but until a certain point, because once you have reached all like the area that you live in, you need to get to a new audience and bring new people because not everybody wants to eat tacos every single day, right? So that's why social media is very important, influencers and all of that. And so we decided to hire an influencer, and she did great. She did an awesome job, and we got a lot of new customers. And and then it makes you stay relevant, and then it puts you on the loop, because I'm sure that, I mean, I was confident that everybody knew us, but no, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're kind of popular, but not as big as I thought. But that gave us a lot of visibility, and so whether we like it or not, it is part of the job, and part of the business is one of the things that you have to do.
Definitely. So at what point did you decide we're going to go from a food truck to brick and mortar? What was that jump? What drove that decision?
Well, like I said, it was always our idea to have a brick and mortar, but the food truck was like, okay, let's start little, and the food truck is the way to do it, right? But the busier we will get, the harder was everything on us. And then at the beginning, it was just my husband and I cooking, and maybe one or two other employees. But then we will have to split and go in for the groceries, bringing everything, washing, prepping, cooking, and then go to the food truck. And it was a lot of work. And then we don't have any family here.
Okay.
I mean, our family is very limited, and they have their own life, but we don't have anyone we can rely on to help with our kids. We have 2 boys. And so we were like, I don't know. I don't even know how we survived, because it was a lot of work, lot of work. And so I was like, literally, I remember this, and I believe that helped us a lot. I will like literally pray and tell everybody, please pray for me so we can find a place, because we need to open a restaurant, because I don't want to cook anymore. Yeah. And so I will say this to every single person, because I was like, not complain, but people will see me and I haven't slept well in months. My husband, we both were like, oh my gosh, we're so tired.
Yeah. And in the food truck, it's probably not as comfortable. And it's probably more difficult, more challenging to control the environment and temperatures, everything. Right?
Everything, because then on the winter time.
That's true too.
On the not winter time or summer,
both are probably difficult.
They
right?
both were very difficult. Yeah. On the winter time, the guy that will help us, he went back to Mexico. The 2 guys that help us, they both went back to Mexico, and then we were very slow. And so what we did is that we brought my mother-in-law, and she will stay home with my kids. And my husband and I, we will cook, prepare everything, go and stay at the food truck until we close at 9. Yeah. And we were freezing. I remember having like jeans over pants and over multiple layers of clothes. It was just very hard.
Some pajamas.
Everything. And on the summer time, super hot, fans everywhere, wearing shorts, melting. And I was like, no, anytime I will see someone, please pray so we find a place. And I think that literally worked. And we found a place that was not only almost ready to be open, but also that was very convenient, because it's like 7 minutes away from my house.
Okay, I was going to ask you about that, because the other thing that people always say is location, right? So that's super important too, is knowing what's a good location, where you're going to get traffic, is your target audience around there, right?
Yeah. And then, I mean, on all of the things, every time I think about, it's just, I feel that we have been very blessed, because everything comes to us very easily. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that everything is easy, but compared to other people or other stories that I've heard, we like think that with anything we think about and we want to make, we do it. Okay. And that's one of the things. Like, the location is great. We never thought about that location. It came to us. Wow. And then, like I say, it was pretty much almost ready to open. I mean, at the end, it wasn't as easy, because they told us, oh, you just need to paint the walls and everything else is done, and it will take you probably 5 weeks to open. Yeah. It took us 5 months and a lot of money.
What was different? What did you have to? You have to build out stuff, or what?
Yeah, that, and then the architect didn't do a few things that she should have done, so we have to rebuild one of the bathrooms, and then other details, stuff that comes up that it was ready, but it wasn't really ready. And so it took us 5 months to open. And I mean, but at the end, like I say, God's timing is perfect. And I mean, we are grateful because even though it took us a lot longer, everything is going well.
Yeah.
We have very good clients, and we just keep growing and working.
Yeah, congrats. I think you were also mentioning that you also offer catering, right? A lot of people may not be aware of that, but maybe tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, with the food truck, we have the food truck and the brick and mortar, and we keep opening both.
Okay.
The food truck is on Hefner and May at Quail Plaza Shopping Center, and then we're always there Monday through Saturday from 11:30 till 8:30 every day, unless we have events, because we rent the food truck for events. Corporate events, birthday parties, weddings, and all this kind of stuff. And then we have the restaurant open 7 days a week from 11 till 8 p.m. But this is something that also came to us. We are on our location. We're on 122nd and Rockwell.
Yeah.
And so we're very close to Paycom.
Okay.
And they became our regular customers. And then one of the important people came to us, and he was like, I guess he told the kitchen, the food coordinator or something like, hey, you need to bring Taco Empire to our menu.
To cater?
And so, so they're probably our largest client, and we cater for them twice a month for all of the employees.
Okay.
And so, we're prepared for big catering or any other type of event.
Yeah. Who would you say are your influences? Is there anybody that you look up for influences as far as cooking or recipes or anything like that?
There's a taqueria in I think is in Mission, Texas.
Okay.
And it's a little taqueria. And she just won the Bears. What is the name?
The Beard Award.
Yeah.
There was another one that was nominated here in OKC too, right?
Which one?
It's down in the Plaza District. It's like an Asian fusion place.
Mother Lao, or I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I'm not gonna say
he was nominated. Yeah, that place is really cool.
Well,
too.
that guy, he's been nominated a few times. His food is great. I've been there and I love it.
Yeah.
So this taqueria in Mission, Texas, I think her name is Annalise, and then she won this year on Texas region, and I was looking at her posts on social media and the reel and the story behind it, and I mean I've been following for probably over a year now, and I just cried for the emotion of knowing that you don't really have to be super fancy to be able to win this, as long as you are making a good product that is quality and good ingredients and the flavor is authentic, you can make it. And I am not thinking that's going to be our case, but I feel that it really is my inspiration. I'm looking forward creating new dishes like she does.
I always hear, don't make the thing that you love your work. So I would be worried that if I opened up a Mexican restaurant, I would hate Mexican food after that, and I would get tired of it. Do you ever get tired of Mexican restaurant? You're like, no more tacos. Like, I see them every day.
Those are my kids.
Yeah.
Like, tacos again, no.
Because I think right now, if you ask me, I could eat tacos every day.
Really?
But maybe if I'm always around it, maybe I would just like get tired of it. I don't know.
It happens. I mean, I love tacos. Probably is my favorite food to eat around the world, anywhere. And then this is another thing. I don't eat so often that whenever I sit and eat, I'm like, this is why we have a lot of good because you're
just like so busy, you don't even get time to eat, or
right?
What? Yeah.
And we work a lot, and we're always around the food that you don't really want to eat anything after all. Like, or whenever I get home, I'll just eat something simple. But then whenever I don't have time, like today I ate, and then we have our menu is not very little that I can always like choose or pick something different.
True.
Today I had the fish tacos, and I was like, yeah, they're good.
Good.
Yeah, they're good.
You could probably mix your own because you know the ingredients. You could probably make up your own dish too, right?
I invented. I don't know. Have you tried the que sabroso?
No, what is that? You got to tell me about that.
Yeah. So, and that's that was my creation. So it's a blue corn tortilla with a crust of cheese, the meat of your choice, and it has charro beans on top and fresh guacamole sauce, garnished with cilantro. And I always recommend it with adobada, which is a marinated pork. It's a little bit spicy, but very, very good. And just like the way it is, the way I describe it, and then you squeeze lime on top of it. And if you want to add, I don't feel it's necessary, but if you want to add the green salsa, it's just perfect. And so actually now I'm hungry. I'm craving one of those. And it's really, really good. And that's that's how it came out. Okay. Like whenever I was at the food truck, I was like, I don't want to have this. I don't want to have that. Yeah. We didn't have guacamole on the menu at that time. But we have the tortas, and we put avocado on the tortas. So we have everything to make guacamole. Mm-hmm. And so I was like smashing the avocados and then crushing the peppers and everything. And then my sister, she will make her tacos with a crust of cheese. And I was like, let me try that. And so I did with my favorite meat, which is the adobada. And so that's how the quesabroso was born. And it's so good, and I always recommend it. It's our signature dish.
Sounds great. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of trends too, right? So how do you stay on top of trends? Because I see people, they sort of want to innovate different foods and even fusions with different cuisines and stuff like that. Do you try to stay on top of trends and try to research to see what people are doing?
Not really, because I don't want to. Like, I feel that there's people who wants to stay relevant, and then they will join into the trends. Like, there's a lot of people who has asked for the asada fries, and we have everything to make them, but then it will like kind of put us away from what we say. Because, we may not be the authentic Mexican restaurant because we have the nachos, we have the bowls. That's not something you'll see in a restaurant in Mexico, but we really try to keep it simple and keep it the most authentic on the flavors as we can. And I mean that's not something I feel people will eat in Mexico unless, of course, if you present it to them, right? But no, there's a few things that I have in mind, like, we can do this. I know it will be popular and everything. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. There's some things that we have on our head, like we are going to add the birria ramen and everything, but just occasionally. It's not something that we want to add all the time because we just want to keep it simple. Yeah,
because that's a great point, because it is good to know what is sort of your mission and what do you want to be known for, right? So it could be that trends go up and down, right? And all of a sudden right now the ramen with the birria is good, and then people get tired of it, and then people don't want it anymore, right?
Right. Yeah. And like I said, I mean, I really like to serve food that I will eat. Yeah. And then like the bowls, I will eat them because they're very good and very complete with everything. The nachos are my favorite thing. They're really, really good. But then if there are things that I'm like, yes, it is good. I mean, I know that if we make the asada fries are going to be good, but I'm like, this is not what I want on our menu, really. I don't want to. Probably like, this week's special, but not something that is going to be there all the time.
Who am I going to find on your playlist?
You'll find Luis Miguel, and then you'll find probably Juan Gabriel. Then you'll find Post Malone.
Okay, I like the diversity. Yeah, it's about balance.
Yeah, it's very diverse. Yeah. Then I'm an oldie. I really like 80s music in English or Spanish. Queen, and then I go back to the Beatles, and then I will go like to Beyonce. It really goes from this to that. So I like a little bit of everything.
Okay, cool. So tell me, what's sort of your goal for Taco Empire? What do you want to do in the future?
Well, we're trying to decide, because our original idea was to replicate our business and open different locations across Oklahoma. I feel that that's still part of the plan, but it's really not so easy as I thought it was going to be. Yeah. So we're definitely working on that. but we also want to spend on the catering. That's I like to do the catering a lot more because I feel that it goes a little bit more personal. I'm the salesperson, so whenever we have a wedding or something, I'm the one who sits down and talk to people and, hey, tell me about you, and then I will introduce them to our food and all of that, or then a birthday party or and food for a corporate event, and people coming to us and be like, oh, this is really good. It's just, it happens at the restaurant, but I don't know, whenever we bring it to people specifically, because that was not, it was no other choice, but they really try and they're like, oh, I love this. It just makes me so happy.
Yeah. What about the family? Have they visited your restaurant? I know you said that your family's restaurant in Mexico is super famous, right? Have they tried your food? Were they impressed, or were they like, I don't know?
Yeah, no, my parents and my in-laws, they were here whenever we did our grand opening in November last year. And of course, my dad was super proud of me, my mom too, and my in-laws, my mother-in-law, very proud of my husband. And then...
were you worried or they were going to taste your food? You're like, I hope they like it. I hope they're impressed. Or you're like, no, I know this is good.
I knew it was
Confident.
good. And then, like, really, because I'm picky. I'm a picky eater.
Okay.
And so, and same whenever I'm eating my food and then I'm like, oh, this is missing salt. And I will go back and, hey, you need to add more salt to this. And so, no, I feel very confident. My dad, he's very, I don't know if I got the cooking abilities from him. He definitely enjoys cooking, and he was very happy with everything. And so was my mother-in-law, and then a lot of the recipes come from her too. So yeah, no, they were happy.
Very cool.
They're very happy.
For the viewers, maybe share some tips or some lessons learned. If you had to boil it down, being an entrepreneur, what are some of the greatest lessons that you've learned?
Well, it seems like an easy question, but I thought that it's not. No. There's like a lot of things that I can think of, and at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe just some of the most important ones, maybe that you think, I wasn't expecting this, but I learned this by being an entrepreneur.
Right. I feel that one of the things that I have learned that helped me a lot is just get around people that knows more than you do. Maybe they're not on the same business, but they have experience with other things that eventually will help you with one thing or another. That has been like very, very helpful to me. And then regarding what you do, just stay true to yourself and stay true to your product and what you do. And for us, our values are quality. We try to always, how do you say, like, present quality on everything. Yeah. And as long as we keep doing that, I feel that, because eventually you want to delegate things, but the thing that you delegate, it doesn't mean that everything has to go lower on quality or flavor or any of that. So maybe you're not doing it anymore, but you still need to be making sure everything is done right. Yeah. What other thing? Just read a lot, listen to podcasts. Okay. Yeah, I think so. That's it.
What about, you always see the stereotypical entrepreneur on Instagram where they're like, I wake up, I have a coffee, I go to the gym, then I go take a nap.
I wish I had that life. I really
You know what I'm talking about, right? Where it's like, they just seem like they have this dream life, but maybe walk me through like a typical day. What time do you wake up? What are your responsibilities? I'm sure it's not like what you see on Instagram.
No,
right?
I mean, I don't know I think that is possible if you have another kind of business, but it's another thing that my husband and we both struggle a lot. We are, I don't want to say that we are not organized, but we don't really have systems or processes, because that's something that we weren't used to it. I was, because I always work in American restaurants, but my husband didn't. He always worked in Mexican restaurants, and they're like a whole different story. Yeah. They have their own way to do things, and you know. So my perfect day will be to wake up and then go to the gym and then, meditate and
Go
exercise.
grab a coffee, do
have
some
my
yoga.
breakfast. Yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
But sometimes I wake up, and then for all of those things, you have to go to bed early, and then we close at 9. Then we have to do the checkout and make sure everything is done, everything is safe, everything is like properly labeled, and all of that. Then you get home, and you don't really want to go to bed right away, so then we end up going to bed at 11:30, and then you have to wake up again at 6 a.m. And then it's. I'm not having the dream life that I want just yet. Not yet. Yeah, but we're working on it.
Yeah. Does it feel like you're working? Some people say that if you do the thing you love, it doesn't feel like work. But I mean, I don't know. It sounds like it's a pretty long day. And are you open 7 days a week?
We are. It's just what I love about the restaurant and everything is the interaction with people.
Yeah.
And whenever I'm at the restaurant and I'm like attending people and making sure everything is right, I love it. But I cannot do only that anymore. I also have to stay in charge of the sales, on marketing, getting the orders ready and delivering and all of the other things. And that's not so fun. It's not the things that I like to do. So that's, to me, the hardest part. But I don't know. It's part of the job, and eventually I hope to delegate the things that I don't really like. But still, you have to do a lot of those things because are important, and you cannot delegate.
Sounds like it's a lot of hard work to me.
It is. It is. And then I feel that I'm a very hardworking woman. I work ever since I was little because on my grandparents, that was my first job at 5 years old.
At 5?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I started waiting tables when I was 10.
Wow.
I was like a little girl with my little apron, and then I will take the order. So I have worked my entire life that I'm kind of used to it. And then we and my husband and I, we both are like, if it needs to get done, we have to do it, no matter how tired you are. So like it is part of the job, and that I feel that's the key to. That's why we have grown, because we do what it takes, and not everybody is willing to do it.
Okay.
If we have to be working, like the other day, we had a catering order for Paycom, and we had to make 1,000 bowls.
Oh, wow.
So we went to bed at a little bit past midnight because the day before we were like cooking the rice and prepping the beans and making sure all of the other things were going to be ready. And then he woke up at 5, went to the kitchen, started prepping everything. I got there at 7, making sure everything was ready, or like starting managing everyone. And so not everybody has what it takes to be a business owner and a restaurant owner.
For sure. So before we wrap up, I want to give you the stage, plug in. Where can people find you? And we were also talking, you recently got your liquor license as well. So that's pretty cool too. Go ahead, plug in. Where can people find you? Tell me about Taco Empire.
Well, if you guys want to try some very good tacos serving blue corn tortillas, we can find us at 7000 Northwest 122nd Street. It's on Rockwell and 122nd, next to Chase Bank. We are open 7 days a week. Monday through Saturday, we open at 11 and we close at 9 p.m. And on Sundays, we open at 11 and we close at 7 p.m. We have our liquor license. We have specials on margaritas on Wednesdays, a $5 margaritas all day long. We have lunch specials. We have Taco Tuesday, $2.75, adobada and pastor tacos all days on Tuesdays. And if you want to hear more about it, you can follow us on Instagram, Taco Empire OKC, Instagram or Facebook, or you can go to our website, www.tacoempireokc.com.
Perfect.
And then just the food truck, like I say, we are located on May and Hefner at Quail Plaza Shopping Center. Monday through Saturday from 11:30 till 8:30 p.m.
And also catering. So if you have a special event, catering as well, right?
A wedding, corporate event. I always like to let everyone know that we can do it with or without the food truck. Not everybody will want to have the food truck.
Yeah.
So either one, we have packages. We have different options because at the end, what we want to do is that we want to make our clients happy. So if what we have is not something they're looking for, but they want to do something else, if it's possible, we always try to make our client happy and we'll make it work.
Perfect. Well, I want to thank you for your time. I know you're super busy, so thanks for stopping by. Don't be a stranger. Anytime you want to swing by, just let me know.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And I'm so happy that I got to talk to you the other day whenever you came. You're always welcome to our restaurant, and we already talked about something that we will have going on soon.
Definitely.
So, thank you for having me.
All right. There you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, the super talented Pilar Esparza, Taco Empire. This is the Maverick Podcast, and dreams we trust.